I'd like to welcome everyone to the January 23rd, 2020 Board of Public Works and Safety meeting. Roll call, please.
Mr. Margraf.
Here.
Mr. Long.
Here.
Mr. Perez.
Here.
Are there any conflict of interest statements?
No, sir.
No. Approval of minutes of meeting of December 5th, 2019 and December 19th, 2019.
I make a recommendation, we approve the minutes of December 5th and December 19th.
I second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Correspondence. A, first of all, I would like to welcome Mr. Johnny Perez to the Board of Public Works and Safety as a new appointment to the board. Welcome, Johnny.
Welcome.
Item B. Correspondence received from Chief of Police John Doty requesting approval of the withdrawal of the petition for retirement of Sergeant Eric Demos that was approved on January 16, 2020. Officers Russell Moore and Brett Bach performing in the capacity of firearm instructors since August 30th, 2019, and to receive specialty pay as of August 30th, 2019, and disposal authorizations. He's not retired?
No, I guess not.
Okay.
Well, I think I told you they're gonna talk about.
Okay, I got you.
I recommend we approve Chief Doty's request.
Do I have a second? All those in favor of approving the chief's request?
Aye.
Item C, amusement device listing for the week of January 20th, 2020.
I recommend we approve the device list.
Do I have a second?
I second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Item D, certificate of insurance for the city of Hammond submitted for approval. This is for self-insurance? Or certificate of self-insurance, do I have a motion accepting a certificate of self-insurance?
I'll make that motion.
I second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Item E, right-of-way permit submitted by the engineering department for approval.
All been reviewed.
Okay.
Good.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna recommend that we approve the right-of-way permits.
Do I have a second?
I second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Item 6, matters from other board members. Mr.
I
Long.
have a couple things here. First of all, we have an order to rescind, demolish order to rescind for 5422 Wood Street. So I'd like to recommend that we approve that order to rescind.
Do I have a second?
I second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye. I also have a couple things from the fire department in reference to promotions and they gave a fire truck to fire service. So I'd like to recommend we approve those.
Do I have a second?
I second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay. Item 7, matters from other department heads and/or their representatives. No. New business, none. Old business, item AA, status hearing on property located at 1503 Myrtle Street.
Morning.
Morning.
As far as I know, there's no other paperwork establishing where this third unit came from. And
No, I
prior
couldn't
documents
find no permits.
And permits show that it was 2 units. Okay, that storefront converted, and then residence that was originally there. what we're willing to offer, unless they, my suggestion was to eliminate the third unit, extend the center unit, extend the third unit by adding additional rooms or whatever. Of course, that's costly, but I think they can make it up in rent. That's their business decision. What we're doing, what we're going to suggest now, for the safety of whoever's going to be in those apartments, is allowing them to rent apartment 1 and 3, and apartment 2, the center unit, remain closed on a deed restriction. It cannot be, it's uninhabitable, it cannot be habitable space. The one thing that would do is allow 1 and 3, that center unit would basically, would be fire separation between 1 and 3, even that 1 hour rating that would stop the fire from spreading to. Okay, now that would also curtail cutting the water at the source and any gas or any other lines that would come to that center apartment, cutting them at their source so we know that it can't be occupied. And at some point that if that was reconnected, we'd know that Mr. Santucci didn't do it, and whoever was in the, whoever bought that, if they do sell it, would be responsible for connecting that water. So basically marking center unit uninhabitable, putting a deed restriction saying such, allowing them to rent the front and rear apartments to the point where they decide to do some construction or otherwise.
Mr. Santucci?
Sure, I'll work with them with that, sure. That's fine, because I don't have no permits that we pulled to make it a 3-unit a long time ago, so. I'm just,
I mean, were you ever, I know we suggested it the last time you were here, were you guys ever able to go back and walk through with your insurance agent?
no, we couldn't get the insurance people to come out there. My wife tried, and they said they were gonna charge it like $500 or something like that.
Really?
Yeah, so I'm not,
A home inspector would come in and do an inspection. They're not obligated to say that this is not to code. They could say that you need to seek a professional and electrician. I'm a certified home inspector, so I've been through that course several times. Nowhere does it say that you need to be able to interpret code. So even bringing an inspector in, you're not going to disqualify what we brought to attention.
So at least at this point, you're gonna be able to, start receiving income again once you can utilize apartment 1 and
Yeah,
apartment
'cause
3, right? Which is what you want.
that's what I
right?
want, to get some income coming in, yeah. But as far as like cutting off the water and the gas to the middle apartment, it's run on a boiler system, and it runs in a big loop around the whole building. So
And that,
I don't know how we would cut the
concern
water.
about,
I think he's talking about maybe the bathroom and the kitchen, those water lines, possibly cutting them off wherever they may be. So those things aren't utilized by anybody, unbeknownst to us, kind of thing.
a licensed plumber would understand, and if had any questions, could ask us what we're looking for, what needs to be done. I don't even want to cut off heat on a loop service like that. It's nothing like that.
Yeah.
Damage your apartment.
So is this something that you need to draw up where Mr. Santucci can agree to it?
I talked to Mr. Smith, and he understands the situation. I'm sure they'd draw it up. I would record it as soon as possible, in case there was a sale. So someone that's going to buy it would understand that that center unit is not to be occupied.
Yeah, it's kind of the law department's position that as long as there's agreement with the homeowner that we're gonna restrict the property to make sure that you can't use that middle apartment. We just want that in place as soon as possible, because if, because we don't wanna have it sold, because if it was sold without that on, then we would probably have to go after this gentleman, and we don't wanna do that. We just wanna do it by agreement. They're agreeing to it. We're happy about that. We wanna get it recorded. So I'll get that prepared within a week.
Okay,
Okay, good.
fair enough. Do we need to set this over for status going forward here?
We said 2 weeks, just make sure we have it.
Yeah, 2 weeks, that way it'll get it
I
signed.
keep missing work, man.
We won't-
I'm
you don't
losing
need to
money
come.
big time.
All
All
right,
right,
have to
okay,
sign that,
all right.
sign
2 weeks is the 6th, is that okay?
February 6th.
Okay. I'm going to recommend that we set this matter over for till February 6th, 2020 for status.
Do I have a second?
I second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Fair enough, sir?
Yeah.
Here we go. Oh, I'm sorry. Item, I'll wait for him to finish. Item BB, hearing on dangerous dogs. See, the Wagners.
Ms. Hill's gonna handle this.
Okay.
Okay.
Maybe they're out in the hallway.
I didn't see him.
He's
when he
going
came
out there
in.
now.
I didn't see him. Well, we're gonna have it anyway.
Yeah,
Yeah, we've already pushed him off, and he's the one that was disgruntled by us pushing it off.
yeah.
Well, so at least the guy, he can make something come down. 2 units instead of 3.
Yeah, you could, his face, he was
He wants, he
relieved.
wants to sell it? No, he should be able to sell it.
Oh, they're there.
Okay.
Gentlemen, ready to proceed? Are you ready to proceed? The case was just called, so are you ready? Okay.
Ms. Hill?
Yes,
Sure.
good morning.
Morning.
Good morning.
The city is here today to present evidence and testimony regarding a dangerous dog hearing against the Wagners. This proceeds under Hammond City Ordinance, Chapter 91, regarding animals and fowl, specifically the Dangerous Animals Ordinance 91.105. After an incident, 2 incidents actually, that occurred on October 4th.
Chris, he asked if you could move to the mic.
Oh, certainly.
Thank you.
After 2 incidents that occurred on October 4th, 2019, the City of Hammond Animal Control sent written notice to the Wagners on October 10th, 2019, declaring their 3 Cane Corsos dangerous, as defined by Hammond City Ordinance. Specifically, those dogs would be Versailles, a male Cane Corso, Blue, a male Cane Corso, and Bella, a female Cane Corso. And the city alleges that the dogs were involved in an incident where they were running loose and without provocation attacked 2 people in the alley behind the Wagner's home. Both those people reported bites to the police department, and the city acted within its authority under 91.105 to declare the dogs dangerous. That would require that the dogs be enclosed within a securely locked pen when outside, muzzled when outside of the pen or off premises, that dangerous dog signs be displayed around the property, and that the owners obtain liability insurance in the amount of $300,000 minimum. The Wagners timely appealed that determination by the city, and that brings us here today for hearing. If there had not been an appeal, the city's animal control's determination that these were dangerous dogs would be binding, and the Wagners would be bound under city ordinance to comply with those requirements. Given the appeal, it's now up to the board to determine whether in fact these are dangerous dogs. And I would offer for the board's consideration that under city ordinance, the definition of a dangerous animal under 91.001, a dangerous animal is an animal meeting any one of the following criteria. Subsection 1, any animal which bites, inflicts injury on, kills, or otherwise attacks a human being or domestic animal without provocation on any public or private property. Additional subsections of that definition regard an animal who on more than one occasion, without provocation, chases or approaches in an apparent attitude of attack on any public property or in any place outside or over the boundaries of its owner's property. Sections 1 and 2 would apply to this section, this situation. The other subsections concern fighting or potentially guard dogs. The city would submit that upon submission of the evidence, we have animal control here as well as victims to testify. The board will determine that this in fact is a dangerous dog and will uphold animal control's finding of a dangerous dog. I don't know if the defendants, if the Wagners have anything to say in opening, so I will defer to them.
Could you start? Yeah. Okay, yeah.
Good morning.
Morning.
So, I think we've been here for a while. We've been here since August. So, in the sake of everyone's time, efficiency, I think what we're really asking for today is that animal control has a bit of discretion in their findings. So, we're not going to sit here and argue over whether the dogs bit our neighbors or not, because that's just unreasonable. So really, we're here today asking that the insurance threshold be lowered to $100,000. So we have complied with, one moment. We have complied with every other requirement. So the dogs are not loose. We keep them muzzled. They are enclosed. We have a kennel. We put up signs. We've procured insurance. However, because of the determination that the dogs are dangerous, we were limited to $100,000. And if we look at the statute, 91.105, animal control. So once a dog's declared dangerous, there are mandatory requirements that the city must make citizens comply with. However, give me one moment. Do you have the statute? Do you mind if I look at your statute?
Yes,
Thank you
certainly.
so much. That's the entire, okay.
If you're looking, it's 91.105.
I'm looking for the requirements. Okay, there we go. So we're at 91.105. If we go over to a B, so we're at B, right? Procedures, requirements. So like procedures like 3, we have in all cases where an animal is declared to be dangerous, and the animal is not humanely destroyed, the animal control shall order the owner to comply with the following requirements. So we have A, the fence, B, the muzzle, C, the warning signs, Okay, and then we go over to 4. And this is why we're here. In addition, the animal control director may order the owner to comply with any of the following requirements. So these are additional requirements that are not necessary. This is in the animal control's discretion. So we have A, confine the dangerous animal to a secure enclosure. B, this is where we get up to the insurance, the $300,000 insurance. So B says the owner must present written proof from an insurance company and/or agent that he or she has procured liability insurance in the amount of $300,000 or such other amount as is determined by city's animal control, covering all damage or injury which may be caused by the dangerous animal. So we have complied with all of the requirements. We have not been able to obtain $300,000 worth of liability insurance. We have $100,000 worth of liability insurance. So unless animal control can show that there's a reason why we need to go up to $300,000, I think we need to leave it at $100,000, okay? It's within our discretion, and everyone can just walk away from this. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
I think if there's no objection, do you mind if I tender the statute, the ordinance to the board? You'd all, I don't know if you have a copy. I've turned all of them to 91.105. Please disregard the markings that are in that packet. That's the entire animal code, and it looks like it was used in a different manner. So there are some markings on different statutes that do not, different ordinances that do not apply to this case, that are not at issue. And I apologize for that.
Is there some other things, Ms. Hill?
Well, in response, I would say that while there are certain requirements that must be complied with, and with respect to a dangerous dog, Section 4 requiring, in addition, if you look at subsection C, which is on page 18 of that. Subsection 2 provides that if the owner requests a hearing, the Board of Public Works and Safety shall hold a hearing at which all interested parties may present testimony and any other relevant evidence within 15 days of the request. The hearing shall be taped. If the board upholds animal control's determination that the animal is dangerous, the owner shall have 30 days to satisfy all requirements set out in Division C1 above and the notice. So that would be the requirements set out in the notice of animal control. And I would submit that on October 10th, 2019, Animal Control provided notice to Mr. Wagner, and among the requirements that Animal Control provided was that liability insurance be provided in the amount of $300,000. So the board's determination, from the city's perspective, again, would be to determine whether or not these dogs are dangerous dogs. If the board upholds Animal Control's ruling that they are dangerous dogs, then the Wagners are bound to comply with the notice that was provided by Animal Control, which includes the condition that $300,000 of insurance be obtained.
I'll have has animal control come across the $300,000 figure over a period of time? Do we know?
Well, this ordinance dates back some years, but $300,000 I think that we all can, in our own lives as potentially homeowners, recognize the purpose of having liability insurance. And I think that we can all recognize the potential for damage to a human who is bitten by a dog. That can include not just the initial wounds and the medical treatment, but also lifetime scarring. And I'm not privy to why that specific number was enacted by the city council, but animal control was given the authority to require $300,000 of insurance. And animal control in this case has opted to require these homeowners to obtain that, these dog owners to obtain that. So I think the city's perspective would be, if the board finds that this is a dangerous dog, the Wagners are bound to comply with the ruling of Hammond Animal Control.
And we do know, in speaking with Mr. Wagner over a period of time, that they cannot get to $300,000 with the tag dangerous dog attached.
The city would concede that the Wagners have represented that here repeatedly. The city would further concede that the Wagners have, following this these incidents on October 4th, been in the course of things, having dealt with thousands of people for ordinance violations, and animal control not dealing with that many instances of dangerous dogs, but I don't think that there would be any dispute from animal control that the Wagners have been attempting to comply. Is animal control satisfied with everything they've done? I don't know. I would defer to animal control for testimony on that regard, but I think that in terms of general citizens and what we see sometimes, there have been significant efforts to comply with the city's requirements. And I understand that we're in a little bit of a situation here where perhaps they would be able to obtain $300,000 if this dog hadn't already been declared dangerous by animal control. I understand these dogs. I understand we're in a little bit of a...
So, for instance, if the labeled dangerous dog was dropped from this and they were able to secure $300,000, would that be a happy medium?
I don't know that it would be a happy medium. The city's position is that it's declared the dog dangerous. They've appealed. You guys need to determine whether or not this is a dangerous dog and whether they need to comply. I mean, there's a lot of happy mediums, but unfortunately, we're a little bit beyond that because of where we are procedurally. So, I do know that we have one of the actual bite victims here, and I think he would probably like to tell the board what happened to him and what he experienced.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Morning.
Morning.
Would the board like me to question him, or would you like him to just make a statement and explain what happened?
I'm okay with just,
I'm okay, whatever you'd like to tell us.
Yeah.
All right, why don't you state your name first, okay?
Don Krusman. Basically, I heard Amy screaming, and I was in our backyard. We're right across the alley from them. And she was doing some yard work or something on the outside of her mom's fence, and there's a open space, no fence or anything, between where they were living and where she was at. And I heard her screaming, so I just bolted for my gate, and just ran out there, not knowing what was going on. And I go out there, three dogs are on top of her. Alex was next to her. Really couldn't do too much. I had a power drill in my hand. I was working on a fence or something. I don't remember what it was. But I went out there. I was the drill didn't make any noise to really distract them, so I'm yelling, you know, and they finally came off of her, but then they started coming toward me, and I had one of the garbage cans, you know, trying to, you know, block them from, you know, one came around, got me in the leg, in the calf, but, I mean, that was pretty much it. I know she was hurt, she was screaming. That's about it.
And we do have pictures of the bite that was sustained by. Well, I have pictures of all of them. We can do that. But these specifically are Mr. Crosman's bite wounds. Those are your bites? Okay. This is the same one, the bite, the written one? Yeah. If the board would like to see these, for the bites. That is the same bite, those are not two separate bites. And if I could clarify, who is Edie? With the microphone.
He's the neighbor, the one that was attacked.
So Amy's another neighbor. And like by referencing Alex was next to the dogs, you're talking about Mr. Wagner? who's
Yes.
there as well? I don't know if Wagners have anything.
Sure. So, Amy, this is to you,
No.
Amy's mother. So, okay, Amy's mother, she has dogs, right?
Yes,
How many dogs does she have?
3?
3?
Oh, 3.
Okay, so, and these dogs, have they ever gotten loose from the fence?
Not that I know of. No.
Okay. So, have you ever seen these dogs in Amy's mother's dogs?
I haven't really seen them. I've seen them through the fence.
Okay.
I'm- If I may, I'm going to object for the record. We're not here about Amy's mother's dogs. We're here about the Wagner's dogs.
Yes. So, the reason that I'm talking about this is because this incident occurred at Amy's mother's yard, outside her fence, and it'll become it's actually relevant. It's we're really talking about. We're talking about dogs, right? So, if we're gonna talk about dogs, we're gonna talk about all the dogs in the neighborhood. But the point of this question is that what's the what do we call that? What's the sort of what's your thoughts about Amy's mother's dogs? Are they nice dogs?
Objection as to what this witness's thoughts are about Amy's mother's dogs. Again, we're not here about Amy's mother's dogs. We're here about the Wagner's dogs.
But in his statement that he sent to the law department requesting this hearing, he did make mention in his statement about dogs across the alley from, I'm guessing across the alley or close to?
It's the neighbor next door. So we're talking about the inclination of dogs to be dangerous, and I think that we need to talk about the history of these dogs with one another. So back to Amy's mother's dogs. So these dogs are kind of loud, aren't they?
Yeah, all dogs are.
Okay. They bark all the time. Even when you go outside to take out your trash, they're gonna bark and yelp. Yes?
Yep.
They might even stick their snouts under the fence, might try and bite at you, correct?
I haven't seen that.
Okay. So, but these dogs are annoying. They're loud.
Sir, hold on a second. We're giving you some, just get to the point, okay? If you
That's
could?
it. That's
Okay.
it. That's it.
Okay.
in this incident, were Amy's mother's dogs bitten?
No,
Did Amy's mother's dogs bite you?
no,
Did one or more, or did one of the Wagner's dogs bite you?
yes.
Okay, so did these dogs initiate anything to you? Did they attack you? Did they come to you first, or did you come to them first?
No.
I'm sorry, if we could just for clarification, since we're talking about a bunch of dogs, can we find out which dogs you're referring to?
Okay, so let's wind up. So you said you heard a commotion in the alley, correct?
I heard screaming.
Screaming. And you also said you had some sort of tool in your hand.
Yeah,
Okay, where were you before you heard the screaming?
in my backyard.
In your backyard? Is your backyard fenced?
Yes,
Yes, okay. So you heard screaming, and what did you do?
I ran toward it.
You ran toward it. So you opened your fence, you ran where?
Right out, straight out, and then over to the right.
Okay, and then what happened?
There's dogs. The dogs are on top of the girl.
Yes. And then what happened?
I went over there, I was yelling at them, kicking at them.
So you were yelling and kicking towards
I'm
dogs?
gonna do whatever I need to do to
Yes.
save a fellow human being.
Okay, and then what happened?
They all came toward me.
Okay, so you yelled and kicked at a dog, and then it came towards you.
Yeah,
And then what happened?
it bit me, and then I don't remember how he got him in there, but he grabbed him, pulled him
Okay,
in.
and you mentioned you had a power tool in your hand. What'd you do with the power tool?
Set it down.
Okay, that's it. Thanks.
And Mr. Krusman, what was surrounding Amy?
3 dogs and a fence.
And were those the Wagner's dogs?
Yes,
You recognize these dogs
yes,
from interactions in the neighborhood?
mhm,
And there's no doubt that these were the Wagner's dogs?
yes,
And Mr. Alex Wagner was present on the scene at the time, correct?
yes, correct.
And what was he doing to intervene in this attack?
Not much. I mean, kind of like, to me, it's kind of like consoling her, I mean,
By her as Amy.
Amy, yes.
I have nothing else.
With all the other requirements.
Well, Ms. Hill, you're done with Mr. Kresman,
I am done with, yes.
Is there anything else that you'd like to add at all?
I'd like to call our animal control
Oh, absolutely,
officer.
absolutely.
Can you state your name, please?
Surratt,
It's on us, right?
And by whom are you currently employed?
City of Hammond Animal Control Department,
How long have you been so employed?
32 years.
And your job duties involve investigating animal-related incidents within the city of Hammond.
They do.
And were you working in that capacity in October of 2019?
I was called to the scene,
And would this be in the 200 block of Wildwood?
yes.
And what did you encounter in the 200 block of Wildwood?
When I got there, I talked to Mr. Alejandro. His dogs were inside at the time when I got there, but I was called out because 3 large dogs got loose and attacked 2 people. He admitted to me on the scene that the dogs got away from him. He lost control of the dogs, and they attacked 2 people. So he admitted that. Not ever did he mention anything about any other dogs coming in contact with the situation. This is the first I heard about it was through his appeal. So he did admit to me it was his fault.
And did you make contact with any of the, had anybody been bitten?
Yes, 2 people were bitten. I made contact with both those people. Amy was bitten several times, I think approximately 13 different times. We do have pictures of that. And then I also talked to the Kuzmans, and he was bit on the leg.
And are these photographs of did you observe the wounds on both the victims?
I did.
And are these photographs, do these photographs
Yes.
depict what you observed on the victim Amy?
Yes, they are.
And where did you obtain those photographs? Did you take them or did
I
she-
did not take them. I think they were sent to us by Amy.
Okay. But those are consistent with what you observed?
Yes, yes, there were several injuries on her body.
And I could tender these. These would be photographs of the victim, Amy. And did you have a history with these dogs?
I did not have a history with these dogs.
Did anybody in animal control have it?
I think maybe one time for a city license complaint, but that was about it, and I'm not even sure when that was.
This was the first time there had been a reported bite.
Yes,
This involved 2 victims.
yes.
And did the city there, did animal control thereupon declare these dogs dangerous?
First thing we did was order the animals be quarantined for 10 days. They did cooperate after that. After the investigation, talking to the complainants and receiving the police reports, we did determine that these animals were dangerous in the city of Hammond.
And did animal control issue a letter to them under city ordinance specifying certain requirements?
We did, we sent that certified mail.
And have the Wagners in fact complied with those requirements?
They have complied with everything except for the difference in the insurance, liability insurance. And today I took pictures of their property. They do have some signs out there, but I did not see a lock on the gate, but that could be easily rectified.
But they do have a kennel.
They do have a kennel. Yes.
You don't know that it's locked, though?
I didn't see a lock on it. Today there were no dogs in it, so the gate was open.
Okay, so it's possible that they lock it when they put the dogs in?
It is possible.
And I think through your course of being here several times, you would agree that the Wagners have been attempting to comply with what the city has required of them.
Yes, they have.
But it remains animal control's position that these are dangerous dogs.
Yes, these are 3 large breed dogs. Initially back in, they were bred to take down wild boar, and now they're used for guard dogs.
That would be the breed history.
That would be the breed
You're not
history.
saying that these 3 dogs?
No, that's the breed history on these
I mean,
on this particular
I've
breed.
read a little bit about these dogs as well, and they can be good pets outside, they become an issue outside of the family.
Right.
So it's not totally.
Exactly.
um,
But the potential to do even
I agree
even
with that
fatal
part,
harm
I do.
is
But I actually, we've
is
been
there.
talking about this for 2 months, and obviously it's doing my due diligence. You gotta read a little bit about the breed, and I've
Right.
had dogs of my own, and,
Yeah.
so I'm
Thank you for
sympathetic
doing
to
that.
both sides here,
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Wait,
so.
you have
Oh,
questions?
sorry.
Okay.
Good morning.
So Bella and Versailles were quarantined for 10 days.
They're gonna have to
And your other dog was quarantined at home for 10 days. We allowed that.
Okay. So did you have any interaction with Bella and Versailles?
I didn't,
You didn't?
no.
Did any of your coworkers have any interaction with Bella and Versailles?
I'm sure our kennel
Yeah.
staff did.
Did they make any remarks about the temperament of Bella and Versailles?
Not to me.
Okay. And you were mentioning the lock on your, when you mentioned the lock, what were you referring
On your
to?
pen,
On the
it's
pen, on the
supposed to
kennel.
have a secure lock on it when the dogs
Okay.
are out there.
Okay, that's it.
Your Honor, I'm sorry.
Well, thank you.
I apologize. Your Honors, the Honorable Board. Also present is Ms. Kresman, Mr. Kresman's wife, and she does have some additional testimony
Absolutely,
we'd like to
certainly,
offer.
certainly.
I'm gonna object, just because she was not involved in the incident, so any testimony.
I had my
Okay,
head
she
up to
witnessed,
date watching
it
my
was,
husband get
stop,
back.
stop.
Excuse me, as I was saying, she was not, part of the incident, so any testimony that she has will be hearsay. It would be, something that she heard from another, it's an outside statement.
And that's just a suggestion of you. We gave you a little bit of latitude up here, speaking of Mr. Kresman. I mean, we're gonna listen to, she's a neighbor. She's been in the neighborhood for a while, I'm taking it, right?
Since 1986, I've been in that
We're gonna
house.
listen.
And
If I may,
Sure.
I would just request that any testimony or evidence given will be on first-hand knowledge, okay? So anything that she witnessed herself, if that's fair.
Ms. Kresman did witness the incident, and that's what she'll speak about, as well as
Please.
her experience with the breed.
At that day in question,
Wait, you want to first state your name?
my name is Tiara Crescent. I've been at my residence since 1986. I own my home.
Okay.
On that day in question, me and my husband just got home from work. We were on the back porch. He was working on something on the back porch, so he had a drill in his hand. We heard Amy, which is a good friend of mine I grew up with, screaming in the alley. So, of course, my husband, he bolts. I'm running behind him. I've got 2 dogs of my own, so I have to stay in my yard. I knew it was a dog attack because I could hear the noise and the commotion. I had my head out the gate, watching my husband trying to get these dogs off of Amy. I did watch the dogs come around and bite my husband on the leg. My husband had the garbage can trying to distract the animals. Okay, my husband told me to stay in the yard because he didn't want, in fear of me getting attacked by these dogs, because they are big dogs. I did have my head out the gate. I did witness my husband get attacked. I didn't witness Amy, but I heard all of it. But I did witness my husband get bit by the dogs. This is not the first time these dogs have done what they've done. There was an instance where me and my husband were sitting on my front porch with our 2 dogs. 2 of the dogs had gotten out, the babies, not the mom, the other ones, ran through the field, come around. Mr. Theo here comes around, oh, I'm so sorry. They attacked my 2 dogs on the porch. And we're like, oh, okay, you know, it's not fun. Yes, you were.
All right.
Wrong. It was broad daylight. I can tell the difference between a black person and a white person. It was Theo that come around the corner. I'm so sorry that my dogs got out. This is not the first time that those animals have gotten out.
Okay, let's just,
Yeah.
let me just stop you for just a minute, ma'am. Can you please tell the board what kind of dogs you have?
I have a Cane Corso as well, and I have a Blue Heeler. I have a Cane Corso from one of the litter that they had. Reason being they gave me a dog is because their dogs kept getting off the front porch and getting out and wandering around the neighborhood.
Okay.
So I had to keep rescuing the puppies and putting them back on the porch. So they ended up giving me one of the dogs.
And have you had a problem keeping your dog under control?
My dog is the perfect animal. My
And-
dog is well behaved. I've socialized my dog with other animals, other people, children. I can leave my grandchildren in the living room with this dog who is about this big now, 150 pounds, and he does not move. He is, yes, a guard dog, very protective of who lives in the home. My dog is crate trained. Animal control had came to my house one day to give me the notice about this hearing, and I invited her into my home to meet my dog. My dog did not growl at her. My dog did not bark at her. There was 2 of them that came in. She said my dog was well behaved. My dog is well behaved. It's how you raise your dog. If you treat your dogs like crap, they're going to turn out to be vicious, dangerous animals, and my dogs are not like that.
And ma'am, where did this attack occur?
In the alley behind my house.
It was not on the Wagner's property.
No, it was not on the Wagner's property, because where my house is, right behind my house, is Amy's mom's house. And there's it's like a big backyard with no.
This is Wildwood we're talking about, right?
Yes, it's like, here's Amy's mom's house, and over here is like a big backyard with no fence. Wagner's did not own that. The only property that they owned was the red house that they were living in, just right in front of them, and right a little tiny bit behind them. This lot here belonged to the homeowner that has this house here. They did not own that property. Those dogs got out, and they attacked her, and they attacked my husband, and they should not even be in the neighborhood. They went from living in the middle of the block to moving to the end of the block, thinking that they'd be okay with a 4-foot fence. It doesn't work like that. I have a 6-foot privacy fence plus 3 foot of lattice on top of that because my Blue Heeler can climb a fence, but my dog cannot get out of my yard no more. My dogs, if I take my dogs out of my yard, they are completely secure. I don't have to worry about a muzzle because my dog does not bite. But I rarely take my dogs out roaming because never know when the Wagners are going to have their dogs out walking the bike trails. Because I don't want the conflict between the animals.
I have nothing else.
So Amy's mother's dogs, they're loud dogs, correct?
Okay, we're going back to Amy's mother's dogs. We are not here about Amy's mother's dog. We are here about your 3 dogs. Every dog that is inside an enclosed yard is going to bark. They're going to be territorial because they want to know who's outside the fence.
Mr. Wagner, if I may, I'm gonna just, I'm gonna put myself in your shoes, or in their shoes. I had a Australian Shepherd walk it down the alley all the time. The one yard I was always afraid to walk by, they had a pit bull. They had a fence, but that dog would get a running start, and he'd run halfway up the fence, like it's a freaking banked racetrack, try and get over the top. And I'm thinking to myself, every time I walk down an alley, Miss Hill, close to your house.
Absolutely.
And I would say, you know what? I don't like this, so I changed my route. So, again, I can sympathize with both sides here. I know things happen when you have dogs. I understand.
My daughter also lives next door to Amy's mother's house, and I walk through the yard all the time to my daughter's house, and those dogs bark. Of course they're gonna bark. They wanna know who is outside the fence. They don't come out the yard. They don't try to jump over the fence to attack me. Every animal is territorial about their property, and yeah, so those dogs bark. My dogs bark. The dogs on the corner bark. Every animal barks.
Correct. So you have a King Corso?
Yes, I do.
And it's, we actually gave it to you.
Yeah, you did.
Okay. And, our dogs, they've interacted together, correct?
Yeah, they have, and your dogs have always put my dogs on, my King Corso on the ground and tried chewing its neck and legs and stuff, yes.
That's fine. That's fine.
So they were wrestling.
Your dogs were wrestling with mine, yes.
Okay, dogs wrestle.
And dogs bark.
Let's,
They do.
guys, I can, there's some bad feelings here, I can tell, okay? But
Yes.
let's stay to the point, okay? Let's stay to the point. Okay,
Okay, that was it.
okay, okay.
Are we done?
We're done.
Oh, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
The city has nothing else.
Okay. So obviously, the dangerous dog label is an issue here. They can't secure the liability insurance the city wants with that tag attached to the dog. Yes, sir? Yeah. Absolutely.
Hi. So the only thing I want to say is that we were very good friends with Amy, and we would go to their house multiple times, and I would take the dogs with them, per se, not the two boys, but Bella, and Bella has played with their children and their dog and has been very friendly, never showed aggressions. I don't believe that she is a dangerous dog. I feel like if she were, she would have, she would have done something a long time ago. Like I said, it's all been, she's very kind, very, I think it's just Amy was a stranger, and I made the mistake of running towards Amy when the first dog ran up to her, and I feel like the dogs at that point probably were just protecting me. So that was on my behalf. That's all I need to say.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So, I mean, obviously, if this is getting put on the board's shoulders, we're going to offer this up. We're going to give you 7 days to seek the $300,000 liability insurance. You said you can get that, correct? If the label is removed from the dogs?
Yeah, I can do that.
I mean, you said you've told us a couple different times it wouldn't be a problem. The only thing is the label on the dogs.
Okay.
That would have to be removed, but we're not going to remove that. You need to secure that with whomever you're going to.
Okay.
And you have to prove that to us.
Okay.
Without that being said, we will side with the city, with
So,
animal control. Everything else has been agreed to. The only issue here is the 100,000 versus 300,000. You've come before the board before saying we can't get to 300,000 without that label being removed.
okay,
We're willing to meet you there.
okay,
If you secure the $300,000 of liability insurance, all the other things are still going to have to remain in effect. The dogs outside the yard got to be muzzled, 6-foot privacy fence, the dangerous signs, all of those things are still in effect. All we're going to do is remove the label if you secure the $300,000 in liability
Okay.
insurance.
that sounds fair.
So you have 7 days till next Thursday.
Okay,
And if we don't see either one of you here, we will side with animal control.
okay, thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Hill?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so my motion going forward is, just as President Margraf said, if they show up next Thursday with the $300,000 of liability insurance, then we will continue to remove the dangerous animal tag. If they don't, we'll side with the city, and whatever happens after that, we'll have to talk about. That's my motion.
Do I have a second on the motion?
I second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, item 10, meeting open to the public. Anyone in the public like to speak? Megan?
Nothing? That's outlandish.
Nothing out of the new controller today. Anyone else?
That's awesome.
I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make that motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor? Aye.